Hello and welcome to the SHU Sports Report. To my left, Aaron Burrell. I'm Frank DeZenzo, and we're going to jump right into it today and serve you up some Pioneer tennis.
SHU men's tennis were in Hamden to take on in-state rivals Quinnipiac, but fell to the Bobcats 4-1. Corey Seltman picked up the only win for the Pios last Friday, 6-3, 6-0 from the 6th position. On Saturday, SHU put an end to Fordham's 7-game winning streak, sweeping the Rams 5-0 in the Bronx. Both Brian Power and Kara Narula won twice to lead SHU. Power and Dean combined for their team best 10th victory together. Matthew Pelot-Schreinen won his 3rd consecutive match and 6th in his last 7 to help the team also. The following day, SHU moved to 2-1 in NEC play as they got their 2nd straight win when they beat Wagner 5-2. Corey Seltman made it a perfect 3-0 on the weekend in singles after taking his 6th flight match. Brian Power won both his singles and doubles match for the 2nd day in a row and would go on to earn his first NEC Player of the Week honor of his career. SHU will play host to NJIT in its home finale on Thursday at 3 p.m., so make sure you get out and support Pioneer Tennis.
As for women's tennis, they're on a tear, winning 6 of their last 7 matches, including 2 won this past Friday and 1 at the beginning of the week on Monday. At Wagner, Friday's match kept things rolling as the Pioneers swept Wagner without dropping a set on the day. Singles play saw 3 Pioneers extend their own personal winning streaks to 3 games, which included Taylor Gerda, Lindsay Post, and Katie DiRenzo, who also picked up her 14th win of the season, which is a team best for the Pioneers. As for second team best, Olivia Putzaberski got her 2nd win in a row, growing her total to 10 wins on the year. Claudia Ruiz improved to 8-8, and Mariah Wardias stays perfect at 2-0. As for doubles play, there was only a total of 5 games dropped throughout for SHU. Putzaberski and Ruiz won for the 4th time straight, DiRenzo and Gerda won their 2nd game straight, and Post and Tori Oates got their first W in their first match together. On to Monday's match against Fairfield, the Pioneers would show no mercy as they would yet again sweep the competition. DiRenzo, Putzaberski, and Post only lost 1 game in their respective matches. DiRenzo, Gerda, and Post once again have 4-game winning streaks in singles play, and both Putzaberski and Wardias extend their winning streaks to 3. Wardias finds herself still perfect as a Pioneer. Doubles play also dominated as 2 winning pairs of DiRenzo and Gerda, along with Olsen and Post, extended their doubles streak to 3 consecutive wins. The week culminated with Putzaberski winning the 2nd NEC Rookie of the Week award for her career. Yesterday's match against UMass was postponed due to inclement weather, but as for the end of the season, the Pioneers will take on Bryant Saturday at 1 p.m. in the first of 2 important Northeast Conference matches.
We're going to head on over to the Update Corner now, where Taylor Krimmel has more SHU sports for us.
Thanks, guys. Let's start off with track and field as SHU sent 4 distance runners to the Sam Howell Invitational at Princeton on Friday. Trevor Guerrera was the top 10 finisher for the men, who took 5th in the 800 meters, and Tara Connolly placed highest for the women at 8th in the steeplechase. The next day, the Pioneers track and field team made the trip up to CT's Ivy League institution for the Mark Young Invitational. Sacred Heart won 5 events, with 4 of those victories coming from the women, including 3 in the field. Marina D'Amelia took home 1st in the hammer throw, and Elizabeth Tevnan dominated discus with a throw of 123 feet, 11 inches. SHU launched their way into the top 3 of the top 4 spots in the pole vault, with Selena Sampiri taking home 1st. Tanya Wade had the lone win on the track in the 100 meters with a time of 13.33 seconds, while the 4x400 team finished 3rd. On the men's side, it was Jake Tavernite who earned the lone win in the steeplechase. Joshua Beloff and Sebastian Pierre each finished 5th in the 100 meters and 400 meters, respectively. Next up, SHU heads to the coast for the Ocean State Invitational in Providence. The women's rugby team took down the University of New England for their first 2 wins at Brown University's Sevens tournament on Saturday. In the first matchup of the day, the Pioneers struck first and never looked back in a 36-0 win over New England. Then later in the day, SHU won a tight one, 15-5, after back-to-back tries from Sunny Revert and Colleen Semenuk gave Sacred Heart the lead. The 2 losses came at the hands of Army West Point by a combined 25 points, including a close 12-5 loss in the team's first matchup of the tournament. After a week off, Sevens play rolls on when the Pioneers play their final tournament of the year at Bowdoin College. There was a pretty big golf tournament this past weekend. No, not the Masters, the Hartford Women's Invitational, where women's golf narrowly missed the top spot on the team leaderboard, finishing 2 strokes behind Quinnipiac University. Chelsea Sedler improved on her first round score by 3 strokes to end the tournament tied for first at 9 over par. Ellen Nybor ended the first round tied for the low score and was the other Pioneer in the top 10 as a part of the group tied for 7th after a second round score of 84. Sacred Heart will try to build on the strong finish when they host the SHU Spring Invitational at Great River Golf Club. Head coach Matt McGreevy is with Diana Cannizzaro in this week's Coach's Corner to tell us all about his team on the rise.
Thanks, Taylor, and thank you, Coach McGreevy, for joining us today. So this season for the women's team, you had 2 players win honors. First was Ellen Nybor. She won the Lady Eagle Cat Invitational. And then this weekend you had Chelsea Sedler, who won the Hartford Women's Invitational. So what do those wins mean to the development of the program?
I really think it helped the current team kind of realize that we've worked hard and it's kind of paid off in the last couple of years. We've had some individual winners in the past, but not for a few years. And especially for Ellen, she put a lot of work in over her first 2 years, and it's something she really, she was really striving for. And it was nice to see her meet her goal. And then with Chelsea, I think coming in as a freshman, she didn't, nobody really quite understands college golf until you get there. And I think for her to be able to realize, and win so early in her career is going to be a big boost for us.
That's great. And as far as the men's team, you have a lot of underclassmen, but they've progressed throughout the season. Mm-hmm. What are your expectations for them for the remainder of the season and their Sacred Heart careers? The
season, I think, I still think if we play our best, we can be in there at the end of the year for our conference championship. We're young. We have to mature a little bit. We still make a lot of careless mistakes out there, and but I think if we're trending in the right direction, we have two events left before conference that we can kind of get ready for, and they've seen the golf course enough down there, so we're hoping that we can get in good form right before we go.
And this weekend you have the SHU Spring Invitational. What is your team, what advantage do they get by playing at home?
Definitely a comfort level. We play there all the time. The weather being like it was the last 3 or 4 weeks, we probably don't have as big of an advantage as we would have if the weather was better. But definitely a difficult golf course. I think definitely the comfort level is going to help them. There's not going to be many places out there they haven't seen before. We're up there every day, so I think with the added comfort level of just knowing the golf course, I think there's a little bit of added stress. It's your home golf course. They set a little bit of expectations for themselves to perform, but if they just play, if they take it one shot at a time, I think we'll be okay.
Right, and you have the NEC Golf Championship coming up. How has this season prepared your team for that?
I think it has, because again, on the women's side, we were preseason. We were picked 4th. We've stayed with the top 3 teams on the, throughout the year, score-wise, a couple of head-to-heads, and I think having 2 winners, especially in the spring, kind of give the added confidence for the team to know that everybody's starting to come into their own and we're hitting on all cylinders, and it's golf. It's a funny game. So anything can happen in those 3 days.
That's right.
And on the men's side, I think, again, we're young, but we might just be young enough to not have the expectations and not have the pressure and just go out and play golf and see what happens on Sunday. So.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Diana and Coach McGreevy. We wish you and the golf team the best of luck for the remainder of the season. We will see you this weekend at the Great River in Milford.
Now forward to Pioneers baseball, who faced Ryder 3 times this past weekend with 1 game on Friday and 2 on Sunday. They began the weekend 1 game over 500 and look to keep that positive record. Sadly, Friday wasn't the best start. After notching things up 1-1 in the top of the fifth, Jesus Medina's fielder's choice, it only took Ryder 1 inning to put the game away. The bottom of the sixth saw 3 runs come across for Ryder as Taylor Kaiser started the 2-out rally with a walk, and from there it went downhill. Single, double, single found the Pioneers down 3 and in a hole which they wouldn't climb out of on the day. The final score was 4-1, Ryder. As the start of the doubleheader on Sunday, it didn't look like the Pioneers were in for a good day. SHU dropped the first game 4-2 after a 7th-inning rally, but they didn't lay down their bats on the entire day because the second game was a bit different. With a total of 14 hits, the Pioneers found themselves on the other end, winning 7-4, finally taking one away from Ryder. 5 Pioneers were in the multi-hit column, including Jason Sullivan, Zach Short, Cody Doyle, Alex Perry, and freshman Louis Conjuro, who struck his first 2 career hits that night. As for the mound, John Susturich and Jesus Medina combined to only let up 4 runs, one of which was unearned. Now back at 500, their record the Pioneers took on Yale home at the Harbor Yard. This proved to be an easy task for SHU, taking the game 7-0 off of 12 hits and 5 different pitchers who didn't let up a single run. James Tauble started off the game on the mound, going 5 complete innings, only letting up 3 hits to extend his streak without allowing an earned run to 21 1/3 innings. He then passed off the ball to Alex Perry and company. As for batting, Zach Short had another huge day at the plate with 4 total hits, including a double, a triple, and 2 RBIs. And Dan Shook had the first 3-hit game of his career. Sacred Heart looks to continue their winning ways Friday as they finish off their 5-game homestead, starting against Central Connecticut State. We're going to jump back into the update corner now. What else do you got for us, Taylor?
The Sacred Heart women's lacrosse team won its 4th game in its last 5, opening Northeast Conference play with a 14-10 win over St. Francis U at DeGaulle Field on Friday. Caitlin Delaney led the offense with a 7-point game, scoring 4 goals and picking up 3 assists. Jesselyn Joseph also had 4 goals, and Alyssa Pierce added a hat trick and an assist. Paige Hammock made 10 saves in goal. It was devastation in Moon Township for the women's lacrosse team, who suffered a last-minute 6-5 loss against NEC host Robert Morris. After scoring 3 goals in the game's first 5 minutes, SHU went into halftime down by 1. In the second half, points were hard to come by for both sides, but the Pioneers were able to tie the game on an Avery Farhat goal early in the period. Then, with just 49 seconds left in regulation, Emily Jamison scored the lone goal of the second half for RMU. Too bad it turned out to be the game winner for the Colonials. Sacred Heart will try to move back over 500 in NEC play when they head to Wagner on Friday. Unfortunately, it wasn't just snow that was falling at Sweeney Field, where the SHU men's lacrosse team fell 16-6 to the St. Joe's Hawks. The game was closer than the score indicated, as the Pioneers trailed by just 1 after Julian Garitano scored one of his 2 goals to cut the deficit to 6-5. The Hawks answered back with 4 straight goals to end the third, up 10-5, then outscored Sacred Heart 6-1 in the final frame. SHU returns to Campus Field on Saturday for senior night, where they take on Wagner in search of their first conference win. Men's volleyball had a tough 3-set loss against St. Francis University on Friday night. Joshua Eisenberg set a career high with 17 digs, and Austin Arcala led the way with the Pioneers with 10 kills. The Red Flash offense proved to be too much and finished with a hitting percentage of .375. The PA road trip continued when they took on 11th-ranked Penn State for the second time this season. And for the second time, the Pioneers took a set from the volleyball powerhouse. Arcala kept his hot play going with the first double-double of the season for SHU when he recorded 15 kills and 13 digs, a new career high. EIVA play comes to a close with 2 home games against NJIT and Princeton this weekend. Melissa Dander just missed a trip to the national championship, taking 3rd place in individual intermediate fences at the IHSA Zone Championship on Saturday. The sophomore had SHU's best finish on the day and was 1 spot short of punching her ticket to nationals. Let's head back to the Diamond and a softball update with Aaron.
Thanks, Taylor. SHU softball welcomed crosstown rivals Fairfield U to Pioneer Park last Wednesday. The team fell 2-0 to the Stags on a cold afternoon, but can be encouraged by another strong performance from pitcher Jamie Carlson, who only gave up 1 hit and tied her season high with 12 strikeouts. SHU threatened to score in the first, third, and fourth innings, but didn't take advantage of having runners in scoring positions, stranding 8 runners on base. A few days later on Sunday, they returned to conference play where they had a doubleheader at Mount St. Mary's. SHU led for most of the game, but the Pioneers fell after a 3-run walk-off homer from Rachel Heinze, which gave the Mount the 8-7 win. In the second game, it was Lindsay Heinze, the little cousin of Rachel Heinze, who led the Mount to the 7-4 win over SHU, which completed the sweep. The Piles are back in action on Long Island today for a doubleheader with Stony Brook.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of the SHU Sports Report. For Diana Canizaro, Taylor Krimmel, and Aaron Burrell, I'm Frank DeZenzo, and we'll see you again next week.